Joining us now, running for Congress, 5th District Republican. This is the seat that Denver Riggleman held. He defeated Denver in a convention, and he is the nominee. Bob Good. Bob, welcome to the show.
Hey, John. Great to be with you, and thanks for having me. If anything shows how important this election is, it's you and I being together on the radio this morning.
Well, listen, Bob, we've had our differences, and I want to start by addressing that up front. We were very nasty. We, meaning myself, my company, my political action committee, Make Virginia Great Again. We were downright hostile to you during the campaign. We were mean, nasty, and not my best foot forward. A lot of the things that we said in the heat of the campaign, I wish I could take back. But look, we were for Denver, and a lot of the things that we did, we raised money in our PAC specifically to beat you. And so we didn't have a lot on you opposition-wise. I think you had a parking ticket when you were 19 or something. It was just not a lot there, Bob. We had nothing to go on. Look, I was nasty. I'm sorry for that, Bob. No excuses on it. I'd ask now that we be able to turn the page because you're the nominee. We have to get you elected to Congress. You won the convention, and you won it handily. It wasn't even close. I mean, you got 58%. You beat an incumbent who outspent you 5-1 and got 58%. So you're the clear winner, and we need you in Congress. President Trump needs you in Congress. And we need you to win the 5th District. So I hope you'll accept my apology for that and we can move on together.
John, thanks for your graciousness. I appreciate it, what you had to say when we were together on Saturday at the pig roast there in Greene County. And I appreciate you did a great job of expressing how we got to move forward together. And as you kind of said, and as others have noted, nothing will unite you like the threat of Marxism. And that's really what we're facing in my race as well as the race nationally. And as you alluded to, I was disappointed in some of the what I felt were very dishonest attacks in the past during the campaign, and I appreciate what you've said on that. But I will tell you, you and the folks who were on the other side, if you will, during the nomination process, you certainly got me battle-tested and ready for the general election. And I appreciate the big picture that you have about we've got to move forward together. We've got to defeat this threat that's on the horizon. And you and I both know, as many have said, it's the most important election of our lifetime. And so much is at stake. The stakes couldn't be higher.
Well, Bob, I will certainly take credit for preparing you for battle in the fall. No question about that. I single-handedly did that. So when you win, you probably remember me and said, Fredericks, as much as I was mad at him because he couldn't find anything except a parking ticket on me, at least he did prepare me for battle, so you got that. But here's the deal. Anybody that's listening to me now in the 5th District, honestly, if you voted for Denver and you were upset, I get it, right? I was also. But it's over. The day Bob won, you got to turn the page. And here's my message to anybody that voted for Denver and is thinking about, I'm going to skip the congressional race, or I'm going to sit this out, or this or that. Look, Bob won. Get over it, okay? He's the nominee, and we have now a binary choice. We have Bob Good, or we have Cameron Webb, who is going to come on my show and do exactly what Abigail Spanberger did, and exactly what Elaine Loria did. And say, I'm going to vote my conscience, I'm going to vote with the district, I'm going to represent the people, I'm going to be different, I'm going to stand up, and then they're going to get there, and they're going to vote with AOC and Pelosi and do exactly what they say, just like Spanberger did. Bob, am I right?
No question about it. If my opponent were to win, after voting, the first vote he would cast would be for Pelosi, or maybe even somebody more extreme for Speaker like AOC. And the second thing he would vote for, if the Dems control the House and President Trump wins, I believe he will, he would vote to impeach the president because the Dems are already threatening to do that again. They're already threatening to undo the election if President Trump wins. And you're right, John, this is truly an election, is on a referendum, if you will. Is America good or is America bad? Do we want to preserve the things that make this the greatest nation in the world and continue to build on those and continue to move forward what the president has done? Or do we want to tear down the country, destroy it, and remake it in a Marxist socialist image? That is truly on the ballot.
Well, Bob, tell me about your campaign, your financial resources. Are you going to be competitive? How does it stand now here in the 5th District?
Yeah, we've raised about $1 million on our own, if you will, since we became the nominee a little over 3 months ago. We're also getting some help from the party. We're getting some help from some outside entities, and so we're going to have a couple $1 million to spend on this race to make sure we win it. We're on TV with a number of ads. My opponent got a head start, as you know. The Dems just have the money roll in.
Yeah.
And originally, the convention was supposed to be April 25, which would have gave us, that was by design. It was as early as possible. The district committee had decided. So we've had 60-day advantage almost over the Democrat nominee, whoever moved forward from the convention. We lost that advantage with the delay of the convention until June 13. So we got out of the gate behind financially as a nominee, and the Dems, the money just rolls in, just like it did after Ginsburg passed away. The Dems raised hundreds of millions of dollars immediately to fight the Supreme Court nomination battle. Republicans didn't respond that way. But we're going to have a minimum of a couple $1 million to spend on the race. We're on TV with several ads right now. And we are going to be successful in exposing the differences between me and my opponent. And because his positions are totally out of step with majority voters in the 5th District, he's going to be rejected on November 3rd. They're going to vote for us because they know that I'm going to continue the policies of the president to support him and apply conservative economic principles, conservative principles on improving health care, conservative principles on safely reopening the economy, supporting law enforcement instead of defunding the police, which my opponent has advocated for. So we expect to prevail, and we'll have the resources to do it.
Bob Good with us. Bob Good, the Republican nominee for Congress in the 5th District, the seat currently held by Denver Riggleman. Bob Good defeated him in a convention on June 13th. He is the nominee. The Democratic nominee, Dr. Cameron Webb. Webb saying that he's going to be independent and he's going to vote with the district and not with Pelosi. But you were indicating that Dr. Webb, great credentials, says he's not going to be a Pelosi sycophant. Why do you think that's not true?
Well, if you look at the positions that he had to advocate for and had to express in order to become the nominee, he dominated the Democrat primary with some 66% of the vote in a four-person field because he was the most radical, most leftist, most socialist of the group. We know who the base vote is in a Democrat primary. There's a reason why pre-nomination, he was the only one endorsed by the squad, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren. As we both know, Kamala was rated the most liberal, progressive senator in the Senate, which is hard to do with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. But my opponent is against the border wall. He's for single-payer health care. He's for free college for everybody. He's for the Green New Deal. He's for returning to the Paris Climate Accords. He's for repealing the Trump tax cuts. He's for reversing the deregulation that the president has implemented. Again, he's for defunding the police. He's already helped them advocated for, and it passed in Charlottesville, eliminating school resource officers. He's marched with the radical BLM organization. He's knelt with them. He's reposted their social media, no justice, no peace. So he is a radical leftist like the whole Democrat Party is. You can't get nominated today without adhering to that agenda. And as you and I both know, the Republicans, you'll have some variance in the party. Some people, a little more moderate, some a little more conservative, everything in between. And sometimes you'll have folks split from the party in a vote. That never happens on the Democrat side. It never happens. They vote in lockstep. That's why the fellow up in New Jersey had to change parties, even though he votes with the Democrats 80% of the
Van
time,
Drew.
because they don't tolerate it. They don't tolerate it, and they won't tolerate it with Webb either. Plus his ideology is consistent with them anyway.
Well, look, that is one thing about the Democrats, Bob Good, that we can agree on. They stick together. There's no question about it. Doesn't matter what they say in a primary or an election. At the end of the day, they stick together. They never leak. They do exactly what the leadership tells them to do. And Republicans, Bob, obviously from what you've seen in the 5th, et cetera, not so much. Bob Good, let's get to President Trump. His standing in your district is pretty good. Are there any substantial issues, policy issues, that you differ on from President Trump, other than gay rights?
I support the president almost exclusively. I judge people in office by what they do, John, whether you're talking about someone in Congress or on the supervisor level, on the county level, or the state level. And folks can judge me by what I did in Campbell County based on my record for 4 years in Campbell County. I have a very conservative, solid record there, standing on principle and on conviction. And frankly, I judge the president on what he has done. I acknowledge from the very beginning, early in the primary process, I was a Ted Cruz supporter. But when President Trump became the nominee, I was all in behind him. And he has exceeded my expectations along with just about everybody else. I believe he will win again. He won this district by 11 points last time. I think he's even more popular this time. But who that voted for Trump last time would not vote for him this time? As the president likes to joke, he's kept promises he didn't even make. But he is down the line exceeded. He is the best friend on life that we've ever had. He's the best friend on religious liberty we've ever had. He's the best friend we've had on conservative judges. In terms of putting America first. How is that a partisan issue to put America first? Confronting China, confronting North Korea, confronting Russia, confronting Iran, energy independence, issue after issue. He's the best president of my lifetime, securing our borders, the first president to secure our borders, in spite of not unified support from the party when we had the majority in his first 2 years in office, trying to repeal Obamacare, down the line, putting an executive order to protect pre-existing conditions, issue after issue, I stand with the president. And so there's not a lot of daylight there. Again, I judge him on what he's done. I'm thankful he's the president. I believe he'll be reelected. I believe he'll pick up support that he didn't have last time in the minority community, more working-class Democrats. Some religious conservatives who didn't vote for him last time will vote for him this time because of what he's done. So, I'm here to support the president and to praise what he's done and to say I will back him and support him in Congress. There's very little daylight between his positions and mine.
So we're with Bob Good. Bob is the Republican nominee for Congress in the 5th District in Virginia. That runs from Lynchburg, Danville, all the way to the south side. It's bigger than New Jersey, huge district. He's taken on Dr. Cameron Webb. He's the Democratic nominee. This will be decided November 3rd. And this is currently represented by Denver Riggleman, who Bob defeated in a convention on June 13th. Bob, let me ask you one question. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons, one of the key issues why you were able to become the nominee and defeat Denver Riggleman was over the gay issue and his marrying a gay couple. What do you have to say to the LGBTQ community in the 5th District about what your positions will be? And if I'm a gay person in the 5th District, what will your election mean to me, Bob?
Well, that is not an issue that we made an issue in the campaign. The media made it an issue. The other side made it an issue. I'm not shy about the fact, of course, as you know, John, that I'm a born-again Christian. I'm a conservative. And I believe in religious liberty. I believe in the right of everyone to believe how they want to believe, and that's protected in our country. I also respect the right for that people are going to believe differently and people are going to live their lives. I believe in independent liberty in that respect. But that's not an issue that we made an issue in the campaign. It's an issue that the media has made an issue in the campaign. It's not something that we focused on, and so we're focused on the things that matter most to the voters in this district and what they'll decide this election on, which is the economic principles of the president, whether or not we want further government take over our health care, which is what my opponent is pushing for, whether we want school choice. The president and I are aligned on that too. School choice, my opponent is against school choice. Whether we want to continue energy independence or whether we want to implement the Green New Deal and whether or not we want to implement, go back to the Paris Climate Accords. Our Second Amendment rights are on the ballot. My opponent is for the gun restrictions that have been passed in Richmond. I don't believe that our gun rights ought to be infringed. Life is on the ballot. I am pro-life, unashamedly so. My opponent believes in abortion up to the moment of birth for any reason with no restrictions and taxpayer funding. There's a reason why he's endorsed by Planned Parenthood and NARAL and all those groups. And so, again, I'm a born-again Christian. I'm a conservative, absolutely, and I believe in religious freedom, which is under attack and it's under assault. And this election is another. You see that with Amy Coney Barrett, just because she's a person of faith and she has her own personal convictions. But I believe in the Constitution. It was so refreshing when Amy Coney Barrett was first introduced, and she said, hey, I love the United States of America, and I love the Constitution. And I would echo that, and I believe most people in the 5th District love the United States of America. They love the Constitution, and they want to preserve what is great about our country.
Bob, the stimulus package is stuck right now. The president's saying he's not going to continue to negotiate with Pelosi. But meantime, a lot of businesses, even in the 5th District, are suffering. The PPP ran out. They need another infusion. Many people face eviction in your district. They would like to get another stimulus check to help them out. How do you stand on that?
Well, I think that the first packages were too large and they were not targeted specifically to those most impacted. It was sort of a scattergun approach based on last year's income instead of based on whether or not you were directly affected this year. In the rush to get something done, I think it was too large. When you come into the pandemic with $24 trillion worth of debt, you can't separate that from the compassion and what you'd like to do. However, when you have a government-mandated shutdown through no fault of the businesses and the individuals, then you've got to provide some relief, targeted relief, specific relief. We've got to stop subsidizing not working, if you will. The amount of the unemployment was too much with the $600 that was added, and employers couldn't get folks back to work. Businesses couldn't get workers back. You're competing with the government. So I do believe we've got to get some targeted relief to those industries most affected, those individuals most affected. But the main issue, John, and here's where we're separated again between the president and Mr. Biden and myself and my opponent, safely get the economy open, safely get the kids back to school. We know what the threat is. We know who's most at risk. We know what kind of precautions to take, but we can't ruin everybody's life in an overreaction to the threat of the pandemic. Now that we've learned about it, we've made great progress on therapeutics. We've made great progress on almost having a vaccine. We've got the testing in place, testing 5-6 million people a week. So open the economy, let folks get back to work, respect and trust business owners, job creators, and the American people. Get kids in school where they need to be. Kids are at such low risk. Learning is essential. But yes, selective, targeted relief to those most impacted.
Bob Good with us. Final question. What is your message to those people in the district listening to us right now who voted for Denver Riggleman, supported Denver in the nomination battle, and are upset that he's not their nominee? What is your message to them, Bob?
Well, my message to them is the same as it is to everybody across the district. I'm going to stand on the Constitution. I'm going to stand up for our Second Amendment rights. I'm going to stand up for our religious freedoms. I'm going to stand up for life. I'm going to stand up for the economic principles that make America great, free market capitalism, and up what the president has done to give us the greatest economy we've ever had. I'm going to stand up for protecting and improving private insurance versus a government takeover like my opponent would do. I'm going to stand up for energy independence that we're all enjoying with the low gas prices, the economic freedom that we have, the security freedom that we have, not depending on foreign nations for our vital energy. All of these things my opponent is against. I'm going to stand up for law and order. I'm going to stand up with our police. That's why I'm endorsed overwhelmingly by the large number of sheriffs in our district. My opponent's called for defunding the police. He stands with the radical movement that threatens our country, that threatens our nation. And again, I believe America is good. And there's things worth preserving that have made us the greatest nation in the world. My opponent is aligned with those who believe America is bad and believes we need to destroy it. We need to tear it down. We need to remake it into a socialist, Marxist nation. And that's what's on the ballot.
Have you patched things up with Denver, Bob?
Well, I wish Denver well. I'm grateful for his service, and I'd love to have his support in this election. I certainly hope to have the support of everybody who supported him. And so I look forward to hopefully working with him in the future.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was for Denver, and you have mine. You have my 100% backing. Denver's going to do what he's going to do. I get it. He's an adult. But you got my 100% backing. Bob, you're the nominee. You're going to be a great congressman. You're going to win. You're going to have Trump's back. If you're in the 5th District and you're still mad about this convention, hey, dudes, get over it, okay? Get over it. We need Bob Good in Congress. We need him there in November. Go out, do your part, knock on doors, get Trump a big victory in the 5th District, and let's get Bob Good to Congress. John Fredericks Radio Network. Bob, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John. Great to be with you.
John Fredericks Radio Network. We'll be right back. Stay with us.